It's midwinter and a great time of year to prune your apple tree, so start with these 4 things. First, find anything that might be dead in your tree and prune that out. Second, you might have broken pieces that were damaged either by winter weather or maybe fruit weight, so we want to make sure we're taking those out of our tree, pruning those out. Third, I want you to look for crossing branches that might be going into the center of your tree. We want to have a strong structure where branches come radiating away from the trunk, not crossing back in. And then look for anything that might be areas that might be dense, where you could take a branch or 2 out to really open up your fruit tree, allowing sunlight and airflow to get in. Also very important, if you're going to need to get on a ladder to do any of this pruning, make sure it's nice and sturdy before you get your body up there. And if it's really far above your head, go ahead and leave those branches to the professionals. This time of year, we want to be pruning the red flowering currant, which we have here. It best grows in an open base shape, which means we have branches that come from the base and radiate out in kind of a V shape. So today, the best thing to do is find the older, woodier pieces, which you can tell are older because they're thicker, more gray, a little bit more weathered. And we want to take out 2 or 3 of the biggest, thickest branches to make space for new growth. We've marked some of those branches here, which are good to cut out at this time of year. Midwinter is also the best time of year to be pruning your blueberry plants. Blueberry shrubs are best grown as open center, and the fruit shows up on newer growth. When you go to prune a blueberry bush, do 2 things. Take out all the dead wood, so you make sure you're only left with living canes and branches on your shrub. And the second thing is look for the oldest, woodiest pieces on your plant, and we're going to prune 2 to 3 of those pieces out. You know that you have an older, woodier piece because they're thicker branches and they are grayer and more brown in texture. And by doing this, we're going to open up some space. We're also going to stimulate the bush to be growing newer wood, which is where a lot of our fruiting is going to be showing up. It's cold out and more cold might be on the way. So if you have cold sensitive plants like this salvia here are some steps to take to make sure it doesn't get damaged through our winter weather. First thing you're going to need is a rigid piece of pipe or wire, something that's going to hold its shape in the ground. Then you're going to want a plant blanket that goes over this around your plant, tucking in the ends on the ground and weighing it down with rocks to keep it in place to protect your plant from any ice or snow or just really low freezing temperatures that might damage this plant throughout our winter.
Hello, this is Weston Miller with OSU Extension Service. In January, if the gray and the gloom have you down, why not trying to force blooms of your favorite trees and shrubs? As you're doing your pruning, you can look for trees and shrubs that flower early in the spring. They're going to have a lot of plump buds on them and a lot of color. You can use a pair of pruners to cut a nice diagonal base and then put them in water. This whole bucket can be moved into the garage or another cool, dark place and let them sit for a couple weeks. You'll want to change the water every day or so. Then once the flowers start to come out, bring those canes inside and mix them with your favorite floral display. Here in the dead of winter, it's a great time to plan your vegetable garden for 2018. If you don't know where to start, OSU's got a great publication called Growing Your Own, which is a vegetable gardening primer for Oregon. First step for planning is to make a map of your space. Determine the square footage of the beds that you have available to grow your vegetable garden crops. Next, you'll want to determine what you grow. Seed catalogs or use your computer to find the different varieties of vegetables that you want to grow. Then you'll want to sit down and do some really careful planning. You want to determine what to plant, when to plant it, how much to plant, and also how long you'll have until you harvest that crop, so then you know when you can follow up by planting another vegetable crop in that area. Here in the Northwest, you can try to plant on at least 2 crops per area. If you keep that in mind, along with crop rotation, you should be in great stead for maximum production for 2018.